Hi, this is Pastor Travis Crocker from Rock Creek Baptist Church in Nashville, North Carolina. I wanted to take a moment to get on here and speak with y'all, and this is not my sermon for Sunday, but I feel like it's a message that people need right now. Now, I realize this is a little bit different. I'm normally behind a pulpit and I'm looking at a manuscript in front of me, but here I am in my office and I'm looking at a computer screen. So if you're watching my eyes, if you're staring at that, yes, you will notice that I'm looking over here sometimes, and I hope that's not going to be too much of a distraction for you. Things are different. Things are very different than they normally are for all of us, but I hope that's not an issue for you. I hope you'll focus more on the content of what I'm saying than how strange it is that we're having this conversation on a video in my office over the internet. As your pastor, I hope you'll allow me to share some perspective on what's going on. If I'm not your pastor, I hope you'll listen anyway. I hope you'll share this with someone else who might need to hear this. And I hope you'll go to our website, rockcreekbaptist.net. That's not .com, that's .net. And check out some other messages that we're going to be putting up during this really strange time. So, something I've noticed, and you probably noticed this too as you look on the internet, is there seem to be two perspectives about what to think of this coronavirus. And I'm oversimplifying here, I know, but there seem to be two camps of thought. One camp is, this is a conspiracy. This is nothing, or it's almost nothing, that the coronavirus is little more than a cold, and you're not going to get it, or if you do get it, you'll maybe not even know you've got it, or it'll just go away, not a big deal. People in this camp often say that this is conspiracy of the government, that our own government is using this to exercise control over us, that perhaps another government from some other country created this on purpose to thin out the population or to attack us, or that maybe we created this in order to use it as a biological agent against somebody else. There's no shortage of tinfoil hat conspiracy theories out there. I've seen a lot of them. I'm sure you've seen a lot of them. And many people who will say the other side is stoking fear are themselves stoking fear, just of a different kind. You might not be scared of the virus, but you're scared of the government, or you're scared of other governments, or you're scared of this or that, and this becomes almost a call to action that we shouldn't take this serious. We'll show them. How dare they tell us what to do, like being safe and wash our hands. It's amazing to me how many people are treating washing hands as a new thing, but that's another subject. Then there's another view. This other view says this is not only a big deal, this is the biggest deal. These are end of days. These are signs of the end times. If we look at our current pandemic, some earthquakes that have been happening, I've read about some in North Carolina I wasn't even aware of. There have been some in other parts of the world. If we look at the general godlessness of our culture, then these are signs of the ends of times. That's what people say, anyway, in this camp of thought. The first perspective says that the government is actively trying to control you or take you out. The second perspective says God or the devil is trying to take you out. So, let's look at this. Let's look at what should we think as Christians about this. Well, objectively, just looking at the facts, this is not nothing. Coronavirus is not nothing, and we should take it seriously. You don't have to believe the media. I know there are a lot of news channels that are basically just opinion pieces with talking heads trying to get high ratings by sensationalizing things. I know that happens all the time. And if you have someone who cries wolf enough, you get to where you just don't even believe anything they say. So I get that. But maybe you can believe the Center for Disease Control. Maybe you can just look at the objective facts. Just the facts of things that have happened in other countries, what's happening in our country, and the general patterns, because you're seeing patterns repeat from country to country to country, including ours, about how this pandemic multiplies exponentially. So even if you just look at the facts, not the opinions about it, not the political motivations that slip into things like this, but if you just look at the facts, God gave us our emotions, our capacity to have emotions. And He trusts us to use those emotions wisely. Now, panic is often not a healthy or helpful emotion, but a basic degree of common sense and concern that motivates you to take some basic precautions, like wash your hands, stay inside if you can. That can be helpful. A degree of concern for your loved ones, to call them, to check on them, to make sure they're okay, that can be helpful. So I'm not calling for panic, but if you are a little concerned that motivates you to take a godly action, like taking care of your family, making sure they have what they need, calling people, checking in on them, that degree of concern, not panic, but the degree of concern that motivates you to take action, that can be a good thing. There are many of us who are not suffering through this. There are many of us who are comfortable at home, who are able to work from home, or your employer has worked this out with you in some way. Many of us have lots of food and supplies stocked up. We don't need to travel, but if we do, we have nice cars and we can put gas in the cars. So many of us are not impacted by this negatively, and we should be thankful to God. We should be thankful to God that if the biggest inconvenience that you have is that you can't sit down in a restaurant right now because there's a ban on going inside of restaurants, but you can still get takeout, that's not the worst thing in the world. If you are comfortable in your home, you have what you need, you should be thankful to God. It's not a time to panic. We should take basic precautions. We should quarantine. We should do all those things, but we should also be thankful to God that it isn't much worse for us. And if your loved ones don't have that kind of comfort, that kind of security, then it's a good time to check on them as well. You've no doubt seen on the news or in person, or maybe this has been you as well, there's this kind of panic buying, this preparation for the end of the world. I don't think it is the end of the world. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be paying attention, though. We do not know, if you look at Luke 21, we do not know the day or the hour that Jesus will return. But taking an honest look at the Bible, I don't think this is the end of the world. I don't get the feeling that it is. What this should do, however, is this should motivate us. This should get our attention. This should wake us up to the fact that there is going to be an end of the world. You think this pandemic is bad? Wait until the final one. Wait until Jesus returns. And we've seen nothing yet. This is like a whisper. The final one will be like a shout. What you see coming over all of the nations should just be a reminder that Jesus is coming. And there won't be comfort and security then. There won't be, I've got my snacks and I'm watching Netflix at home and I'm fine. There won't be that. So right now, this is only a very small taste. Very, very mild. Mild is even too strong of a word for it. This is nothing compared to what we will see. Now, I'm not trying to belittle this. This is very serious for lots of people. But for many of us who live in comfort, this is nothing compared to what's coming. And don't let your comfort get you so complacent that you forget that God is trying to get our attention. I do believe that God is using this as a way to wake us up. The kind of sinful things that we do as a nation, individually, the things that we partake in, whether we watch, we listen to, the kind of thoughts that we allow to dwell in our heads and our hearts, the way that we treat other people, the way that we reject God, that we don't read His Word, we don't pray unless we just want to ask Him for something. So much of the time we treat God like a jack-in-the-box. We just turn the handle and God pops up and we ask Him something and we try to shove Him back down in the box and put Him on the shelf. That kind of religion is not what God wants. So yeah, I don't think this is the end of the world. I don't think it like the camp that says this is nothing. It is definitely something. I don't think this is the end of the world. I think it's somewhere in between, that God is using this as a very small thing. You could consider it like a dry run. That just enough, the locusts that are in Africa, the earthquakes, the global pandemic, it's not the end of the world. But it should wake us up to the fact that the end of the world is coming sometime, and we don't know the day or the hour. Jesus says that he will come like a thief in the night. We have seen this pandemic coming. We saw it coming. We knew long before it got here that it was on its way. And we knew when it first got here that it would multiply, that it would be exponential. We could look at the patterns that had happened before. We knew what was coming. When Jesus returns, I don't think we're going to get as much notice. Boom, things happen all of a sudden. It'll be mass hysteria. The kind of panic we've had now is nothing compared to what is to come. Again, this is just enough to give you a little taste that yes, there will be disease. Yes, there will be locusts. Yes, there will be earthquakes. Yes, there will be all these things, but it's going to be so much worse. Yes, look at people's reactions to this and see how people are responding in hysteria. Nothing compared to what's to come. So we want to prepare by buying enough food and hand sanitizer and toilet paper and chicken, of all things. Chicken's going like crazy in the supermarket, I'm hearing. All of that preparation is nothing compared to the soul preparation that Jesus wants us to be doing, whether there's a pandemic or not. Look, even if something is coming for you on a global scale, even if it's not coming for you on a global scale, how do you know something isn't coming for you personally? A heart attack, a car accident. You could be patient zero for something that we've never even heard of. It also always starts with somebody. There's always a patient zero. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to be real with you. Even if it's not the end of the world that you're preparing for, when does the end of your world come? We don't know. We don't know. So you'd better get ready in here at least as much, really more, than you get ready out there. In 2 Chronicles, God says to us, "When I shut up the heavens so that there is no rain, or command locusts to devour the land, or send a plague among my people." Does this all sound very familiar? "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and will heal their land." So clean your hands, but ask Jesus most of all to clean your heart.